Hello, happy Monday, happy Thanksgiving. It's the start of Thanksgiving week, and just think in a few days you're going to have family and friends over, and you're going to be eating cake and pies and turkey and laughing and crying and shopping and have tears in your eyes from the kids running around. But right now we're going to have a little bit of madness of our own. We're going to have a discussion about discrimination in society with the emphasis on Muslims. We're going to see what we can come up with and see what we can discover and see what we can talk about. Think of September 11th, 2001. Who remembers that dreadful Tuesday morning? Can you remember what you were doing? I do. I was on a military base in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. A job that I worked at with a construction company, and I remember it like the back of my hand. First plane hit the building, and they immediately locked it down. They had soldiers guarding outhouses, guarding trees. We didn't know what was going on. All we heard was Muslims, multiple planes, terrorists. We were just scared because no one really knew what was going on. Now say Muslims. Muslims. Say it 3 times. Muslims. 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 What do you automatically assume? Terrorist. But the two really don't go hand in hand. Timothy McVeigh wasn't a Muslim. He was white and in the military. So what's that say about society? That says that society has automatically sat in judgment of a culture and a religion that they may or may not know about. They may or may not understand. That's kind of like Muslims and other foreigners automatically assuming, because you always hear, they're American. We don't really want them. But who decided that all Muslims are bad? Is it because through the years, great-grandparents, grandparents, you don't understand them, we can't be friends, we can't be neighbors, we can't talk? But seriously, in society today, Muslims are discriminated against just as much as white people, African Americans, Koreans, Mexicans, and other religions and other cultures. We don't want them in our stores. We don't want them in our churches. We don't want them around our kids. And some would definitely say they don't want them as in-laws in their family. But who are we to sit in judgment of others when we can't sit in judgment of ourselves? That makes us a hypocrite. That makes us a hypocrite on Sunday, especially if we're of the religious nature. Is it because we don't necessarily understand their religious beliefs? You hear them call their God Allah, and I'm saying their God. There's only one God. In the end, when it's time, there's only one God that's coming. Whether they call it Allah, whether we call it Jesus, or whoever, there's only one. I think that scares us because you say terrorists, you say Muslims, and then you automatically assume, hey, they're going to change our religious beliefs. They're going to warp our minds. They're going to do like an alien thing and put something on our head and convince us that we need to be this. Not only are Muslims discriminated against in society, they're discriminated against in neighbors, churches, just everyday life. But we as Americans, us as a society, need to discover how and where we got this belief and how we got there. Because when you're discriminated against, it not only affects your household, it affects your health. It brings stress onto your body that sometimes people don't understand that it shuts your body down. It makes you feel like you're sick. You can't function at the productive level that you should. So again, who are we as a society to sit in judgment of others when we can't sit in judgment of ourselves? That would be like us Americans going into their country and getting treated the same way. We may not like their beliefs, we may not like their cultures, and we may not believe in everything that they believe in. But who's to say that we can't learn from each other? We can teach them things just as much as they can teach us. That September 11th day, that Tuesday morning, when the people that survived and the families that were left to cope with the ones that didn't. They didn't know who did it. but they were told by social media then. See, social media has expanded now 16 years later. But back then we didn't understand as much as we do now. We automatically assumed that everything NBC, ABC, and CBS had to say was truth. But it was spun for us to believe that all Muslims were bad. All Muslims were out to get us. They were discriminated against as much as we are in their country. We pitted each other together because we didn't understand their beliefs. We didn't want to understand because we were led by our own blind ignorance. So we as a society going into 2018, the start of Thanksgiving week, we need to take a little bit of time, a little bit of effort to understand. Because one day, you might never know, you might have a son-in-law, a daughter-in-law, cousins, friends, neighbors, grandchildren that are half Muslims. And what are you going to do? Are you going to turn your back because you don't understand? No. You're going to love them just as much as your own. So hopefully today in my discussion, I brought a little bit of, oh my Lord, I need to think about what I've been spewing. Because we all, at some point in time, have discriminated against people that maybe at that time we didn't know we did, but we did. Was it from our own, we didn't know, we were scared? Was it from our own blind ignorance from other people? Or what was it? So take a little bit of time, say those 3 words, Muslims, Muslims, Muslims. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully everyone has a great week. And I'll be back soon to have another discussion about an interesting topic. Thank you for listening. I'm Christy Randolph. Bye.